What's up, guys? Jamie here, and welcome to episode 14 of No Turning Back. We didn't do an episode last week because I was sick. I had a cold. It was nothing big, but it's not nice filming when you don't exactly feel well. And so this episode is going to be actually really short, simply because we want to focus mainly on the Royal Rumble. This is a live Royal Rumble predictions video. And like I said in my last video of giving me ideas and sending me feedback, and then I gave suggestions on what I wanted to do, I'm filming a live reactions video to the Rumble, and then I'm doing a review on Tuesday. I would like to expand more on my channel, do more, and I didn't want to focus heavily so much on No Turning Back. I love doing it, but I don't want my whole video feed to just say No Turning Back. And simply because there really isn't much to talk about other than the Rumble. So, anyways, our Twitter for it is NTBWWE, so go follow it as well as all their other links, and all the other episodes of No Turning Back is up as well. And before I, introduce my co-host, I have a video up where you could suggest on what videos you want to see, and like I was just talking about, and ideas that I talked about that you might want to see, and what's on my iPad. So, repeating myself again, I mainly didn't want to do so much on this episode because I have a lot to film and because I have a lot that I'm going to film tomorrow. But anyway, I am here with my co-host. Would you like to say anything?
What's up, everybody? Rasmus's Reality in the house, and just like Jamie this week, I'm doing a lot with my channel. We both decided that we're going to start. Well, I think you said you're not going to do every pay-per-view, but right now my plan is to do every pay-per-view. We're going to be doing solo reviews again, so that'll probably be the next wrestling-related thing you see from me. And I'm also expanding my channel. But yeah, just like Jamie said, those are all the reasons why we didn't do a show last week, and why this show is going to be shorter and mainly a prediction show, because there's no point in recapping when we're that far behind. And we just didn't want to make a really long episode, but I hope everybody's well and surviving the blizzard. I know my co-host here got majorly hit by it.
It's snowing right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope everybody's well, and I'm excited to talk about Royal Rumble. So let's do this.
Well, we're not behind because NXT has nothing to do with the Rumble. But anyways,
Yeah.
I mainly didn't do a video because I was sick. But we mainly wanted to keep this short because I wanted to do something different on No Turning Back. And not just that, but I've never really done like a live predictions video. So I thought that would be something new and different to add to my channel. And we never truly really like emphasized it too much on here that we did prediction video. And plus it's the Rumble, so it's one of the big 4 pay-per-views, so doing a live predictions video I feel would be really good. But this is not my suggestions video, so if you want to see all that, go over there. So anyways, let's touch on the last 2 weeks. Now, there hasn't really been that great of a build. I mean, I almost totally forgot the Rumble was literally this Sunday or tomorrow, but when it was like the beginning of the week, I was like, wait, is it this week or next week? And you're like, no, this week. And I said that not this week, but the following week before that, I said, wait, it's this week, right? Or is it next week? And then you're like, no, it's next week. So that kind of just shows how, for one of their big 4 pay-per-views, how much people don't care. But what were you going to say?
I was just going to say we're not really enthused, and I'm sorry if it looks like I'm looking down the entire time. I'm just getting really frustrated because I'm trying to copy the live link to tweet out for everybody on my phone, and it's not showing up as doing it. So, I mean, I can see that it's live because it's up on my phone, but it's not like copying the link, which is really irritating me. But anyway, yeah, like she was saying, for one of the big 4 pay-per-views, there's like hardly any excitement at all for this show. I feel like we're just watching this show because we're supposed to.
Yeah.
Is what I feel like. You know?
And they could surprise us and do what they did at TLC and actually put on a really solid pay-per-view. Because that build was actually pretty bad too. There was nothing to it. There was no build to it. There was nothing too much added to it. There was nothing to make us excited for the Rumble. There wasn't, I mean, to be fair too, half of the roster is gone. But they didn't give us anything interesting to look forward to, and they didn't really add to anything. They didn't really have too much going on. I mean, when you're supposed to at least put on a good feud or a good build, it's not just because we like to complain, or it's not just because, it's just another pay-per-view. It's the Rumble. It's one of your big 4. You're supposed to put on like a good build.
Yeah, no.
And it's kind of disappointing.
Another thing, if you want to just quickly touch base on it, like they did something that would have made me very excited going into this pay-per-view and made me think, okay, they are trying to do something different, and then they just screwed it up when they put the United States belt on Sin Cara and then took it off of them.
Not Sin Cara, Kalisto, but yeah, they look exactly like, because they have the mask on.
Yeah, sorry about that. But,
that made me frustrated.
Yes, but I mean, that's the kind of thing where it's really hard to get excited. I mean, I'm excited for Kevin and Dean, Last Man Standing. I'm excited.
That's an exciting stipulation. Those 2 are very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited for Becky and Charlotte again. But I mean, there's not. This feels like this is the start to WrestleMania season. It's not just the first calendar year. It's the start to the end of the wrestling calendar year. Or, I mean, the first month in the calendar year. That's what I meant. So, this is supposed to be one of your big 4 shows. And it doesn't feel like one. But I'm going to give it to Jamie for just 1 second. Because I finally got the link copied. So, I just want to fix the tweet so we can all get the word out. So,
I was going to say it feels very...
Yeah.
What's the word? Lackluster, whatever, or however you say it. It feels very, very like it's just another pay-per-view that's tomorrow. It's lacking star power. It's lacking storyline. It's lacking a lot. And it's quite sad because the Rumble is always supposed to be very exciting. And it doesn't feel that way. I mean, they could surprise you, but like I was saying, it's very, 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 oh gosh, I don't really know the word for it, but it's very dull. I think the words for it. It feels very dull going into this pay-per-view. And it's quite sad because it's supposed to be the Rumble, and it's not, I don't even know what to say. It's just not exciting. But is there anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, I think that's it, really. I want to be enthused, but I'm not, because I'm enthused by you doing your thing you're going to do, and I'm always excited to watch shows with you, because whenever you're with your best wrestling friends, it makes everything better. But on paper, I'm just not excited about this show. And it's just sad.
Oh, I know.
So yeah.
I'm searching for words because you don't know what to say when you're trying to stall to get the link out. Am I right?
Yeah.
No, but seriously though, I had something I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? No, it's quite a shame, and that they made you not interested in your like big start to Mania. It's like you were saying, it's the road to WrestleMania, and it's not looking very exciting, and half of the roster's gone anyway. Oh, this is what I was about to say. They're lacking usually for the Rumble, there's all sorts of returns or surprise, debuts, and they're really lacking quite a bit of people. So
there we go. It's out if you would like to retweet it on yours as well. But yes, I mean that's exactly the point is that it's supposed to be getting people pumped up, and it's not succeeding in doing that. And really, I think the most frustrating thing to me, I mean, I'm sure you're going to touch on this eventually, but while you do the Twitter thing, just like I've been doing the Twitter thing, I'll try to carry things here for a minute. The most frustrating thing to me that happened was the whole Roman being number one in the Rumble match thing, because it was so predictable. We knew it was going to happen, and now I'm going to be very shocked if Roman doesn't retain the championship. Because otherwise, why would they make such a big deal about him being number one?
That's true. And also, I would like to say, I'm sure that you were waiting for me to touch on, is that while it's good that they are trying something different, it poses the bad part of making it obvious that Roman wins. But then also, if he doesn't win, what was the point of having him win in the first place if he only had the championship for like 2 months? But then it's like, I don't want him to win because that would be predictable, but I don't want him to lose, but I want other people to win, but that's not going to happen. But then some of the people that are in the Rumble, but there's also lack of people in the Rumble, so...
Yeah, I mean, Jericho coming back, I'm not just saying this because I'm like the world's biggest Jericho, but Jericho coming back added intrigue and surprise too, but there's really not anybody other than Brock Lesnar. There's not really anybody in the Rumble that makes you believe that Roman's going to lose the title.
Yes, that's what I was referring to, saying that while there's a complete, no stars, a lackluster of stars, the only person would be Lesnar. But then it's just like, what was the point of having Reigns winning only to lose it? But then he can't lose it because they put so much emphasis on him, but then it'll be predictable. But I do like the part where they at least try to make a difference. They added a stipulation which adds some interest, but then it also adds, predictability. And I think they, like we were saying last episode, I think that they got themselves into a spot, But there are some stipulations that I like for this pay-per-view and for these matches. So, for instance, like the IC title match will be great because they're both fantastic. But the Rumble's missing a lot. Anything you'd like to add before we go on to the predictions?
Just that, a lot of people, I think we need to cover this just so we don't sound, like we're just being naive. A lot of people are saying Triple H, you finish the business of Roman Reigns and Triple H. Triple H takes the title from Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns gets it back at Fastlane. Well, my whole thing about it is Triple H doesn't need to win the Rumble and take the title. Just let Roman take the title. Let those two fight at Fastlane and let Roman beat him clean. Because no one really wants to see Triple H have the title for just a month, because that will ruin all the build and everything they've been trying to do with Roman.
Exactly. So let's move on to the predictions so we don't make... We were saying that we wanted to...
make it short, and then we had more to say than we thought. Sorry about that.
Yeah, exactly. You finished my sentence for me. But okay, so this is no order, because I mean, we have no way of knowing the order of the show because it hasn't happened yet, and we're not doing it in any specific order, but Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match with the Dudleys, with the Ascension, Mark Henry, Swagger. I can't see, so I'm sorry if you see my face really up close. And then I think it's Damian Sandow, and is that Darren Young? Yeah. Well, Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. So what do you think?
Well, this must have been a match that was added on the previous SmackDown, which I did not watch on purpose because I was not able to be there live. It depressed me very, very much because Chris Jericho was in town. But let's not go there. I don't want to bring the show down. But I'm just explaining why I did not know about this match. So seeing as how the only team there with any kind of build that I even recognize is the Dudley Boys, I'll say the Dudley Boys.
Oh, right. Oh, I was gonna say that there's nobody really relevant in that match other than the Dudley Boys, and I feel like nobody cares sadly, about all the other people in this match. Like, I don't care for Mark Henry at all. I don't care for Swagger. I don't care for poor Damien Sandow, but I don't care for him or the Ascension because they've pretty much ruined a lot of these characters.
Right. Well, to be fair, I think that they are having Damien go back to his original gimmick, which is
great, but they kind of ruined him still, by doing that to him in the first place.
Exactly.
So yes, I guess I'm not just saying this because you were saying that, but the Dudley Boys, because they're the only relevant people in the match.
Yes.
So, and then they're only really doing anything with the Dudley Boys. I mean, they're kind of doing stuff with the other 3 tag team people, but
yeah.
All right. So, anything to add before I move on? I'm gonna save the Rumble for the end because that's obviously the whole point of the Royal Rumble. But okay, WWE Tag Team Championship match. My favorite, the New Day versus the Usos. Go ahead.
It's my favorite team, my favorite tag team right now too. I mean, every time they come out, we mark out like crazy. I love
them.
We love the New Day so much, and it's always very frustrating on Raw that this one's feed is 1 second behind mine every Monday because I want to react and I can't because I'm spoiling things for her. But yeah, I love the New Day and everything about them, and so does she. But honestly, I would not be surprised at all if they gave the title to the Usos, simply because the Usos were one of the strongest tag teams in 2015. They need to do something to be relevant. I don't know how you can keep them relevant without the tag team championship, and I think the New Day is so strong right now as a faction, and they get over no matter what they do. That they don't.
And they're hysterical.
And they're just hysterical. They don't really need the championships.
Rest in peace, Trombone.
Rest in peace, Francesca. Yes,
indeed. Francesca. Poor Francesca. They have shirts for that too.
They do. Funny. They do. But yeah, I don't think that the New Day needs the championships to be relevant anymore. So I would not be surprised to see them put it on the Usos. But I don't know if I want to say that I'm predicting the Usos because it's one of the matches, and this always happens to New Day. Every match they've had recently, it just feels like it could go either way. It's very, very hard to figure out what they want to do. So I'm just going to say the Usos, but be very happy if the Usos don't win. That's what I'm going to do.
I think I know what you're saying. Like, it's one of those matches where you think one's going to win, but you could see the other one winning, but you want to see the New Day win, but you also kind of want to see the Usos be relevant, but you still would be upset if the Usos won.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I want the New Day to win, but I also want the Usos to win to be relevant. So I'm going to pick the
But at the same time, I don't want the Usos to win because I like the New Day so much. Yeah. We're in the same dilemma.
Yeah. It's almost like I wish there was 2 sets of tag team titles and New Day could just be champions forever.
But I could also see I think the New Day is going to still retain, but I could see them doing it simply because they're WWE, and I'm not complaining, but I could see them simply just having the New Day win because they're the New Day and because, they're such a strong faction right now, and then kind of blowing off the Usos and kind of how they do that with their characters, kind of just they need something to be relevant, and then I don't want to see that happen to the Usos because they're actually an energetic and interesting tag team.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the Usos. The Usos are the best tag team in WWE if it wasn't for the New Day. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Usos.
But I could see them just kind of having the New Day win, and then, where does the Usos go from there? Like they did with the Dudley Boys. You know how the Dudley Boys were like a big thing when they came, and it was shocking, and then they went against New Day, and we thought, oh, they'll eventually win the titles, and then it's like they need to win here in order to do something, or what was the point of them coming back and not having the championships? And then they kind of just swept them under the rug.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I could see with the Usos, which they probably will end up doing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth, bud. That's exactly what I was going to say.
So I'm saying New Day is probably going to win, and I think that's what they're probably going to do, is just like they did to the Dudleys. Although I could see, like you were saying, if they were high on them, I could see the Usos winning. But I'm going for the New Day.
And I think if the Usos win, just putting a really quick bow on this, because again, this has already been longer than we wanted it to be. But yeah. I think that if the Usos do win the tag team championships, it's simply because they want a title change at the Rumble. And just speaking in terms of a booker and someone who knows logically how to book matches, if we see an early title change on the pay-per-view, that most likely means that we will not see a change of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So the tag team championship is something they could easily do that with, or either one of the other three title matches that we're talking about. But I think the tag team title match would be the one that would be the most shocking if they did.
Right.
So, yeah.
Or sometimes they do it where none of the titles change hands.
Yeah.
Or they have one small title change, but it's not really too relevant.
That's what I'm saying. If they want to go that route, that's what I could see them doing. But anyway, let's move on. Unless you have anything else you want to add about that.
No, I don't think I have anything to add. Well, no. So let's move on to the other match. Last man standing match, Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens.
Match of the freaking night. I'm calling it right now.
That's literally, you just took the words right out of my mouth. I literally was going to say I was so excited when they said that stipulation. And then it's Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose. Like, they've put on great matches before. And just the stipulation in this match is great already. So this is probably going to steal the show.
Without a doubt. I mean, this feud has been the greatest thing ever, but this one here hangs out with me almost every day, and she will tell you that I've enjoyed this feud better than anybody on the planet, but I've had more anxiety on this feud than anybody on the planet, because I love
stressed when you watch wrestling.
Because I love both these guys so much. I don't want to see either one of them lose ever. And it's one of those things where two of your favorites get put together. It's magical, but it's the most frustrating thing on the planet, because it's like you have nobody to pull for. The basic rule of professional wrestling is you pull for somebody, you don't pull for the other guy. But when it's two people you really, really like, you're screwed.
Yep. Like, I don't want Dean to lose a title, but at the same time, I don't want Kevin to lose either. But then it's like, I don't really want him to take back the title because I want Dean to still have a longer title reign. But then, like, Kevin deserves the title too, and it's just like I like both of them a lot, and it's distressing sometimes to be a wrestling fan. Unless it's your favorite wrestler against another wrestler, then you are cheering for your favorite wrestler. Like, for instance, I almost said for Undertaker. You're not the Undertaker. I wouldn't be able to function if you were Undertaker on the call. I guess I just have him on my mind like I always do. But
sure.
For instance, for Raz, if Jericho were to fight, name a wrestler. Just name somebody. If you say my favorite wrestler, I'm going to punch you.
No,
Randy Orton. Randy Orton. I'm sure you like Randy Orton too. You're obviously going to cheer for your favorite wrestler. Like, you're obviously going to cheer for Jericho.
Yeah.
But for me, for Undertaker, if he fought Randy Orton, like, I'm obviously going to cheer for Undertaker, even though I like Randy Orton. But in this case with Dean and Kevin, I'm going to cheer for both.
Right. I mean, there's no loser in this scenario at all. So my prediction is going to be what I would rather see at this point in their careers, which is Dean to retain the Intercontinental title because I think Kevin is ready to move up more to the main event scene. I want Kevin, and I've said this for the last several months. Anybody that's watched every episode of this show will know I think Kevin is ready to move up to the main event level, and I want him to be a dark horse pick for the Royal Rumble. And that's not going to happen. He's not going to be one of the last 4 or 5 guys in the Rumble if he wins the Intercontinental title in that match.
I do think he'll be towards the end though. Like I don't think he'll well, we should say that for the end. But anyways, I do think Dean is going to retain, and like you said, which he kind of is moving up to that. He's not fully there, but he's slowly moving up to the main event scene because he is in the match. I mean, there's a lot of people going to be in the match, but you know what I mean. He's like one of the relevant people in the Rumble.
Right. So that's what I'm going to go with on that one.
All right. So the next match is the United States Championship match, Alberto Del Rio versus Kalisto. Now, we could make a whole video on this. We were kind of ranting about this before on Skype.
And we were ranting about it just earlier.
Yeah, just slightly before. I really want Kalisto to win. He shouldn't have lost it in the first place.
There's no reason in the world that Kalisto should not walk out with the U.S. title. But
I honestly could just see them throwing Kalisto under the bus and just having Alberto win.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. My unfortunate prediction is Alberto retaining the title because for whatever reason, they're really. I mean, not that Alberto Del Rio is not great. Not that not having him back in WWE isn't a great thing, but for whatever reason, they think that Alberto Del Rio is a bigger star for them in the Latin American community than Kalisto. And I don't think they know what they have in Kalisto. Anybody that's watched
He's so talented.
Yeah. Anybody that's watched anything he's ever done in the Indies will tell you this guy is one of the most exciting wrestlers on the planet.
And even just in WWE, he's so athletic. I mean, the stuff that he does, he makes a flip look so easy. I mean, I love when people do stuff like that. And like Raz was saying, Alberto Del Rio is great. He's a great heel, and he's great. And I have nothing against Del Rio. I just don't like the writing that they've done with this because I think that they were doing it that I don't know. I think that I don't know. I'm just frustrated. I like Del Rio, but I want Kalisto to win, and we're just frustrated at the writing, not so much Del Rio or not the wrestlers because it's
exactly.
I mean, but it's like, what was the point of having him win to have him lose like not even a day later?
Yeah, it
wasn't even a full 24 hours.
You could have absolutely continued this feud all the way through Rumble with Kalisto being champion. There was no reason for Alberto Del Rio to be champion.
I guess if they kind of want to make him like an underdog, like one of the people on my Twitter, which was a bit annoying and rude when he was saying it. But you remember what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Not basic booking, but making him kind of like an underdog. And you touched on it about Mysterio, kind of making him like a Rey Mysterio or an underdog. But like, why like that, man? You could just like, he's already very underrated, so that could already make him an underdog, and then make him an underdog by winning against a big opponent like that. But why did you have to do it that way? It makes me frustrated.
Yes, exactly. I don't think there's anything more to say. I mean, it's very. Kalisto should be the next Rey Mysterio. He should be one of the guys that is around and relevant for years. But they've screwed it up.
I don't like the way that they're treating him.
Yeah, Kalisto should be your new United States champion at the Rumble. That's what I want. I know that's what you want, but I'm not predicting that. I can't predict that. I'm not going to get my hopes up and say Kalisto will win. So,
but then it won't be as exciting because he already won it. But then I feel like either way it doesn't work because if Alberto Del Rio wins, it's like, oh, that's obvious. But then if Kalisto wins, it's like, what was the point of having him win then having him lose, and then having him win again.
Exactly. The whole entire way they booked this feud. I mean, I said it to you, and I said it in response to that slightly annoying person you were talking to. We were talking to you on Twitter as well. I said it's not basic booking; it's lazy booking. This entire feud has been extremely lazy booking, and I don't like it at all.
I don't either. And one thing I wanted to point out too is that if they were going to have them feud, there was other ways you could do it. But besides that, I thought it would be where, they would have that. You know how sometimes they have random title matches and it's just someone trying to go up against the title and then they, lose once and then that's it. So I originally thought that Alberto would win because why would Kalisto win? And then they shocked me and had Kalisto won. But then I was like, I guess it's too good to be true because then we found out not even 24 hours later that Kalisto lost the title. And it's frustrating. It's just like either I think they should have just not had Kalisto win at all. Just, I mean, it sucks because Kalisto is talented. But if I knew in the future that Kalisto was just going to lose it, not even 24 hours later, I would have been like, just have him already lose, and then that's it.
Right.
Or you could have it where he still had the title now and still kept the feud. But now, if, it doesn't work if you do back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, one wins, one loses, which I could see them doing too. But what were you going to say?
Well, I think that what they did, the reason that they did it was to draw us in, to make us interested in the feud. But that's not going to work if you give people what they want and then take it right away from them.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If they were just going to do that down the road, they might as well not even had the feud. But then, or if that's what they were going to do in the future, they might as well not even had the feud in the first place, or just had Kalisto lose on that match. We would also be saying, what was the point of even having them face in some random match? However, it would be better than having Kalisto win, then lose it 24 hours later, not even 24 hours later. And it's also better than, I have a feeling they could also do back and forth with them winning. And also they could either, I'm repeating myself, could have just never had the feud or just had Kalisto win.
Yeah.
There's other ways you could do it, but.
Yeah, there's other ways. We could do a whole video. We might just do it because, we're determined to do things when we want to do things. But there's a whole different way they could have booked this feud, but it is what it is now. And again, we're rambling way too much again.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'll just move on. I'll move on because there's a lot I want to say about it.
Let's just get it out there. Del Rio retains because.
Yeah, Del Rio retains. Sadly,
WWE is stupid. Yeah.
That makes me frustrated because either way it's predictable, but then it's other way it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But anyway, I'm moving on. Okay.
Yeah.
Women's Championship match: Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. Your lady.
Oh my love. Here's the thing. She's my love. She deserves championship. She's probably the only one on the active roster right now that's believable to be champion because Sasha's hurt and Paige has been injured. But they don't want to make Charlotte's reign short, especially with them just turning her heel and just, giving her momentum. So I don't give Becky, unfortunately, a snowball's chance in heck of winning the title.
I think it's exactly like the match we just talked about with Kalisto. We would like Kalisto to win, but Del Rio is going to retain. So simply just like with that match, now with this match, we want Becky Lynch to win. We love Charlotte, but we want Becky Lynch to win. But she probably won't, and Charlotte will retain.
Yeah, that's really all I'm going to say about it because I could literally make this video another 20 minutes long if I expanded on my frustration.
All right, so then obviously the whole point of the Rumble is the 30 Superstar Royal Rumble match. I think we pretty much touched on it at the beginning.
Well, let's do what everybody seems to tend to do when it comes to Royal Rumble time. Let's talk about the final four guys, like the guys that we will see in the final four, because it's going to be, the winner, and then the remaining three guys will have very strong things to do at WrestleMania. So my final four predictions are as follows: Chris Jericho,
Brock Lesnar,
Kevin Owens, and Triple H.
Yeah.
Along with Roman Reigns. So that's your
Yeah.
final five. I said four, I meant five, because you can't leave out Roman Reigns. I think the only guy.
Well, I think that's a given though for Reigns.
Yeah. I think the only guy with any chance to take the title off Roman, storyline wise, because things have to make sense. I know it's WWE, but when it comes to Royal Rumble and the build to WrestleMania, something somewhere has got to make sense. So,
and there's also who could possibly return. I know there's not a lot of people, but then there's on top of who could possibly be in the match. And sorry to cut you off. And before we move on, I was gonna say I think the choice is that we want Kevin Owens to win. I think the majority of people want Kevin Owens to win. He won't, but it'll probably be Reigns. But if not, we could see a Lesnar winning too. But I was going to say, which I was touching on, is I don't see Kevin winning, but I see him being in the last final people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Not the last two, but the last five I could see.
Here's what I want to see. This is what I want to see go down. I want to see Kevin and Lesnar in those final five guys. I want to see Lesnar eliminate Kevin, and I want to see Kevin lose his freaking mind, find a way back in the ring behind the referee's back, and eliminate Lesnar and set up Brock Lesnar versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I actually was going to say that once you got to the point, I was going to say, Brock Lesnar, because he's a beast. He eliminates KO, because he's kind of like, I guess not the underdog, but like when it comes to star power, he's kind of underneath all of them. So, like the people that you would think would go out first in the last five, KO probably. And I think that Lesnar would do that to KO. And then I was going to add, but I didn't want to cut you off, that when you said he would, well, that's what you want to see, that KO would probably want to come back and do and eliminate Brock Lesnar. And then that would leave kind of the obvious I mean, you said Jericho would be in there too, but I could see Reigns and Triple H, and that setting up too, which I guess it would be obvious if Reigns was last, and then I could see those two being the last people in there, and then Reigns winning, which I don't want to happen, but
Reigns will retain. If they're smart, Reigns will retain, and we will get the Triple H versus Roman Reigns for the title match. But we don't need Triple H to win the championship. Only reason that Triple H eliminates Reigns is to add more fuel to the fire of the feud. But that is my prediction, is that the main event at Fastlane, one of them is going to be Triple H versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Heavyweight Championship.
But I could definitely see, though, if it's Jericho, Triple H, Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and KO. I could see KO or Jericho going out before any of those other three.
Right.
Now, and then moving on to, I think probably like Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Triple H. And then somehow, since Lesnar is a beast, unless I could see him winning it too, but unless, I think since he's a beast, I could see him getting like screwed out. Because you know how they still have to make Brock Lesnar look like a beast. And then I could see, like you were saying, Reigns and Triple H as the last two.
Yeah.
And then setting up from there.
The only other thing they could possibly do, which I would also love, would be to have Jericho involved with Owens and eliminating Lesnar, and then setting up a triple threat match between Owens.
True. Or I could see it being like KO and Jericho together, and then like Reigns and Triple H don't want to be together, but like them together and then eliminating Brock Lesnar. I don't know. You know how some people pair up in the Rumble?
Yeah. But I mean, I'm gonna probably do a whole video, and I might ask Jamie to do it with me, or we may just put it as part of the next No Turning Back, because the next No Turning Back is gonna be all about the build to WrestleMania. So I need to talk about where I want Chris Jericho to be at WrestleMania, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, the last two are by far going to be Triple H and Roman Reigns. Roman should retain, but I could see Triple H winning. And here's what I want to say to end this, and then you can, end it however you want from your own opinions. For the love of God, WWE, don't make Triple H being in the Royal Rumble some big surprise thing. Like, don't have the announcers act so shocked and awed, like, oh my God, the COO's in the match, because
he's been in a billion Rumble matches.
Yes, and we've all seen this coming ever since Seth Rollins got hurt and they switched the feud to Triple H versus Roman Reigns. We all knew this was going to be the payoff, a one-on-one match between Triple H and Roman Reigns. So Triple H is showing up in the Rumble match. We know it. You have to be blind to not know it. You have to be deaf to not know it. So don't act like it's the biggest surprise in the world. And I'm venting and saying that, but that's what's going to come out of Michael Cole's mouth on Sunday. Like, oh my God.
There's not really anybody surprising unless like The Undertaker shows up or AJ Styles or something, which I would love. Can you imagine if Undertaker showed up, shocked everybody, and won? And if it is his last hurrah, like, can you imagine ending like that? Winning the Rumble, getting the title, then going into WrestleMania with the title, winning as a last victory, and then vacating it.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, that's a whole nother video, but I was just saying that would be a nice scenario. That would be a nice scenario.
Yes, I'm all for that, booking. Book that right now.
Book it right now. Shock everybody and go in and do that too. But probably not. It's a nice dream.
Yeah,
so Triple H and Reigns winning.
But you agree that makes more sense for Triple H not to win the title, right?
Right. No, he doesn't need it. Like Brock Lesnar doesn't need it either. I could see him winning it, but same thing with him. He doesn't need it either. He's Brock Lesnar. He could just show up, and we all know that he's tough and strong, and he doesn't need a title to look even stronger.
Yeah.
But I think, like you were saying and ranting about, it wouldn't be Triple H is not a surprise entrance. A surprise entrance is Undertaker. A surprise entrance is like a Kurt Angle. A surprise entrance is like the New Japan Pro wrestler showing up.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to see the Bullet Club in the Rumble. Yeah.
We don't know exactly when, but that's a whole nother video. But anything else that you would like to add or promote?
No, I'm just gonna, because I noticed myself doing it out of the corner of my eye. If for those of you that don't know, with my condition, the heavier the headphones I'm wearing, the more weight that's on my body. It causes my body to go everywhere. So if you see me doing this or doing this, like, I'm seriously not trying to look unattractive on camera. It's just something I can't control. So
I'm sorry if you keep seeing me look that way the whole time. The snow outside. I'll show you actually. Without showing the address. Actually, I'll just show it the other way because you can't read. Okay. So, yep, that's what it looks like outside right now. I don't know if you can see.
Wow, yeah. Look at that. That is right out in front of Jamie's lawn. So
you can't even see. Okay, there are these. Not that I'm poor, but you can see in that direction. There, the street address that I live on is right there. I really don't want all of YouTube to see. And I can't really block it on a live podcast, but I was gonna try to show you that way because the window isn't covered with snow on that side, but and you can see better. And I wanted you to see because there's the big houses, the big beach houses right down there, and I wanted to show you how you can't really see it.
Yeah.
Instead, you got to see the marsh and the small houses.
Yeah.
With the giant houses this way and that way, but I didn't want everyone to see the street sign down there. But
Exactly.
you got to see live snow. There you go.
Exactly. Let us know. And she's alive and she's safe, and that's what we care about. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I mean, we said this was going to be a fairly straightforward show, and it is. I mean, there's really nothing else I can add. I hope that WWE surprises the heck out of us tomorrow night. I hope it's one of the best Royal Rumbles we've had in a long time. But I
Because
mean,
last year's was pretty disappointing. Hopefully they don't
yeah,
repeat that.
obviously, I guess the other elephant in the room that we didn't talk about, if you want to talk about it, is Daniel Bryan.
Oh yeah.
Does Daniel Bryan
I
get the
don't think he
opportunity
will.
to show up?
That actually adds to what I was saying. Triple H is not a surprise entrance. A Daniel Bryan would be a very, very surprising entrance. I don't think so. But can we go with having Undertaker win, like come back and win? I would be perfectly okay if we didn't get Undertaker and we got a Daniel Bryan or a Bullet Club or something coming back. But please don't make it predictable. Make it a good show.
Or even something we can touch on this in a future episode or in separate videos or in another joint video that's just a regular video. But we talked about the possibility of a feud that's never happened. It would give us total anxiety, but it would be a great feud for WrestleMania. Triple H Jericho.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about on Skype the other day, which is also opponent for Taker. But that's a completely different video, and I'm gonna end it here.
Yeah,
So it's not a really long episode because it's probably not because we said it was. But anyways, I would really like to see the scenario of Undertaker. But comment down below what your predictions are, what you think about the Rumble.
Yeah, tell us tell us who your dark horses are. Who do you think is going to come out of the Rumble strong? Don't forget to follow at in TV WWE, which is the new Turning Back Twitter. We did get all your questions. We'll probably do a Q&A in the next edition or in a couple editions. Like, we don't want you to think we're ignoring your questions. But
I'm going to do my own prediction video of me. But anyways.
And all of the links down below in the description box. Oh, and for me, NXT weekly reviews starting next week, next Wednesday, and also a solo review as well on Monday. So, yeah.
All right. Bye. See ya in our later videos. And No Turning Back will be next Saturday, obviously. Bye.
Bye.